I am on a quest to be liberated. I want to be liberated from any kind of reliance on product, location, medication. I want to be liberated from any kind of institution that I would need to sign up and pay subscription, and I want to be so self-sufficient in my health and how I can treat myself, how I can recover from symptoms and pain and things that cause me problems in my life. So my sole purpose in life is health first. For many years, there was money and reputation and people pleasing and lots of other things that were in front of my health. My health is in my hands, and it's based off of what I eat, what I do, what I think, where I hang out, and who I hang out with. So if you're not in the right place, move. If you're not with the right people, leave. If you're not eating the right things, change. If you're not thinking correctly, get up and move. If you're not moving at all, find a way to get your ass off the couch, off the bed, whatever you're doing. It takes a minute. If it takes 5 minutes to do, start doing it. If it's only 5 sun salutations, it's likely that you'll do more than 5 sun salutations. So it's the initial step that always continues the movement or the momentum. There's got to be some like physics law that I'm not able to think of right now, but that's the momentum that I'm looking for and that I'm seeking, and that what motivates me and what gives me purpose and what makes me be grateful for the opportunities that I have had in my life. I have been given so many no's and yeses, and I have been given so many opportunities and missed so many opportunities. So my whole life has been filled with different events that I have learned from, and I am not unlike you. You have also had a life that's had many different choices that you've made, and many different people and locations that you've been in, and many different events that have shaped your world that you live in, the mindscape that you talk to within yourself, and how you see the world. So I am very grateful to the no's and the yeses that I've had in my life. I'm very grateful for every opportunity that I have been given, and I'm also happy that I was wise enough to take hold of those opportunities. On my hero's journey to figure out how I can be comfortable alone, how I can be sufficient and confident in my own health and my own well-being, and that my body is a gift, and if I do not fail it, it will not fail me. So that's why I sought out to find as many different people that had this same idea that the body can heal itself, that if you put the body in the right conditions, if you give the body the right conditions, it will give you back the energy, the enthusiasm, and basically the life that you're seeking, where you can be relaxed but happy and enjoy the moments as they come, and take the opportunities when you see them, and gather relationships that have meaning for you, and then output something in the world with purpose and with meaning and with teaching. So I have sought out so much information and knowledge from the fasting fruitarian world and from the high carb low fat world. So I take pieces from each book I read and each experience that I have. Because I read such book, then I implement it and I muck around and find out, and that's the best way for you to learn. Someone could tell me all the steps and all the things, and if I didn't pick up the brush and do it myself, would I really know what I'm doing? Would I really know what it's like to paint? No, I wouldn't. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do, is to step up into that place where that you are your own person to keep accountable. So that's one thing I learned also in running my business, was that it was like, if I didn't do it, nobody else was going to do it, and I had nobody to cry to, and I had nobody to blame for it but myself. So and it's very much the same thing in sport. Like I played a lot of team sport, but track and field was always something that was very anxiety forming for me, because it was like, it was me and the track, and that was it. Of course there was the other girls that were running with me, but they didn't matter. It was just me and the track, and how fast could I go, and don't screw up on the gun, and how do I set up my blocks and everything else. So it gave me a lot of anxiety, and like, how can I do this all on my own? How can I run this race all on my own? And I had the talent, and I had the athleticism, and I had the coaching, but I didn't quite have the confidence in myself, I guess, at that time as a teenager, which is probably common, but it's just something I think about. It always stays with me that I thought team sports were easier because you could just kind of get away with being in the background sometimes, whereas when you're up and shining on your own, it's you against the world, it's you against the track, it's you against everybody else. And it's not really I'm not trying to say I'm against the world, but it's just, I have to be able to rely on my body and my mind, and to ensure that my body and mind are running well, I have to put my body in the right conditions by giving it the right food, giving it the right movement, giving it the right rest. And then essentially keeping myself in a place where I'm surrounded by people I want to be surrounded by, and an environment that I would like to be in, that is sunshine, that is less like, 6 months winter. So what I have gathered from Arnold Ehret would be that transition is the key. That is something that I overlooked when I read his book the first time. Overlooked the fact, and I let my ego get in the way, and I let my wanting to be noticed and impressed by the fruitarian community on Instagram, that I just went slam trying to be a fruitarian, with zero transition, just right from meat to fruitarian, and I'll just include some fasting and everything's gonna be fine. So then I had to do some reading, because I also made mistakes that many of you are making. I'm seeing this fruit and food combining thing. So when I read The Grape Cure, that was the first book I read on fruitarian or fasting or healing with fruit and food. And that book, she was only on grapes, just grapes. And it was at a different time with different soil, different fruit, blah, blah, blah. There was times when she had grape juice and sometimes when she had whole grapes. But the point is that grapes are very detoxifying. They are very aggressive. And if you want to be like on the toilet and like having some sort of little bit of like fever and a little bit of headache, and because your digestive system is now clearing out this mucoid plaque that's been stuck there if you're juice fasting, especially if you're grape fasting, and it releases these toxins into the bloodstream, and then you have these symptoms of headache, you have this symptom of fatigue, you have this symptom of indigestion and bloating and diarrhea. So fruit combining, especially if you're coming from like meat and standard American diet or whatever it is that has a lot of oil and fat and protein in it, most likely you need to understand that starch is your friend. Starch is your transition. And yes, fruit is the ideal. And yes, I would love to just eat fruit all the time, but I am not there yet. And even if I had an endless supply of the best fruit in the whole world, I would probably still need to be transitioning with rice, with potatoes. So would I be keeping it extremely low fat? Yes. Would I be avoiding the oils? Yes. Would I be avoiding the salt? Yes. And I avoid salt because of blood pressure. So just over time, the more salt you have, the more burden it is on your kidneys. And especially if you don't even sweat, like you shouldn't be having like any added salt. And even the people that go to the gym and sweat and use that as their thought pattern as to why they're having salt, they still overdo it. Monitor your blood pressure, get a blood pressure machine, have no salt for 3 days, check your blood pressure, and then have salt and then check what happens. And the people that have the lowest resting heart rate is cardio athletes, and they have the lowest rate of dementia and Alzheimer's. So why is that? It's because they are uptaking and they are breathing. They are just, they are constantly breathing, and that oxygen demand gets your blood moving and it goes to your brain. So they have more oxygen and blood running through their brain simply because they are breathing heavier and breathing more, and outside breathing fresh air too. So something to consider. What I learned with John Rose was that there was a lot of mucoid plaque in people that most of them didn't even know existed. You know, John Wayne and Elvis Presley are the examples that he uses that had 40 pounds of undigested fecal matter when they died. I'm pretty sure Elvis died having a heart attack on the toilet trying to take a dump. What did Elvis eat? We know what Elvis looked like at the end of his life. It was pretty atrocious. He was pretty slimy and fat and gut and belly and just very unhealthy. And with DurianRider, I learned about sugar, and I learned about the importance of having enough calories, which I didn't understand from John Rose. I didn't understand from Arnold Ehret. It wasn't as important. Although Arnold Ehret said that grape sugar or sugar from fruit was the best thing, I still didn't get it. I was just like, biophotons and fruitarian and so romantic, and just like, you know, I was lost in this world, and it was a lot of vanities and a lot of like, I'm fasting and I'm better than you. And with John Rose, he even said in 2000 on his Deborah Duncan interview on his channel, which you should go check out if you haven't seen it. He's on some talk show, and he's talking about maple syrup and adding maple syrup in just to get enough calories. But I didn't get it. I didn't get the sugar. So people on Instagram that I was talking to that were following or checking out Durian themselves said, hey, I'm trying this. Why don't you try this? And it was just like, you know, lightning went through my ears, and I was like finally able to feel like a normal human being. I felt like it gave me this childlike wonder and enthusiasm and lust for life and real like energy, real nutrients, because everybody seems to think that like sugar is this drug, and it's like sugar feeds all of our cells. Like, tell me a drug that you can have like 1,000 grams of and not overdose. If you had 1,000 grams of sugar, you would be like, okay, I can't eat any more sugar. You'd be full. That's about as crazy as it would get, is you would be full. You wouldn't be dying, you wouldn't be epileptic, you wouldn't be puking, you wouldn't have, you wouldn't be having an overdose symptom from sugar. But you would if you had it in caffeine or any other drug. You would be right off the deep end. So driving home the sugar, and then now it's like I'm really starting to refine the low fat and the low sodium, and getting rid of the dairy that I had for the last couple years, because I had the low fat milks and I had the fetas. I didn't have them every day, and I needed to sort of get that protein and get that fat to rebuild myself, because I was so underweight when I was my lowest. I had to pay the receipts, the calories that I restricted for years. And I'm in this place now where I think I'm at the perfect spot where I have recalibrated my hormones, my metabolism, and now I am ready to kind of put out some more cardio. I gotta breathe that fat out, and I gotta breathe that blood to be oxygenated through my body. I've got to get that electrical fire going. So that's my motivation. And now it's time for me to hit it, and hit it hard. that's the video for today. It's kind of a mishmash of things, but it was just some few things that were on my mind, so I thought I would tune you in. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.